Hi everyone, I'm Yasmina Slimani. I'm the CEO and founder of Elysian Wealth Ventures, a fintech startup based in London where we've built the first private by design global finance app. Today, I'm super excited to be joined by Simon Bourneuf. We're based in Chicago. We're in Chicago today, so super excited. Simon manages the Chicago Midwest office for Jade Fiducial, and super excited to be with you today here in snowy Chicago.
Thanks for having me.
Simon, could you tell us a bit about Jade? Well, first of all, background about yourself, and then about Jade. How did it all start? And finally, what makes it very unique compared to some of the other tax advisory firms in the US?
Yeah, so I arrived in Chicago in 2014. So it's been a while in Chicago.
I think we kind of missed each other because I left in 13 and you arrived in 14. So
Yeah,
some good years.
4 years. But yeah, some good years. So I've been with Jade for 8 years now. So this is not my first experience in the US. So I got hired by Olivier Suro, which gave me an amazing opportunity. It's really like US dream to start the office, the Jade office in Chicago. So it's been a journey, a little bit like yours. I mean, with of course a little easier, but a journey of opening the office, developing the business, and so it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. And Jade, it's has been created by Olivier, who hired me, and Emmanuel Jegley.
Mhm.
So both of them are American CPAs, French CPAs, and they started Jade to for clients, mostly French clients, so mostly French companies, expatriates, and they started Jade to actually build this bridge between the French system, the American system, and that's what Jade is made for.
What would you say are some of the common misconceptions that you may see between that for French expatriates that have to deal with U.S. taxes? What are some of the things that they may,
Yeah,
some of
so
the blind spots they may have, or uncommon mistakes?
so most of the people can think, all right, it's taxed in France, so I don't have to do anything in the US, but they're wrong.
Mm.
So, or for example, the bank accounts, or my bank is disclosing my bank account, so I don't have to do it.
Mm.
So it's the culture, the tax culture between France and the US is very different, and here it is a lot of disclosure. So people don't realize it, and they all often forget a lot of things.
What are some of at what point do most expats or international clients realize that they need help with US tax compliance?
Yeah. Well, that's when they get scared. They look at it, they get scared, and they're like, "Oh, I need someone." It really depends. Well, often they get scared and they come to us and they see it's very complex, so they need someone. And it's also part of the culture in the US. I mean, well, everybody has, not everybody, but most of the people, they have a
Has a
CPA, yeah,
absolutely.
which is very different from France.
Yeah.
So they come to a new culture and it's very complex. So they come to us to help them and to avoid mistakes. But that's one of my type of clientele, and there's the one that actually do everything, try to do everything by themselves, and they come to me and that everything is wrong.
Oh God.
So
And then you start
yeah,
looking back.
yeah.
And you're like, oops.
So it's a lot of my job. It's pretty unpleasant, but it's a lot of my job. And then there's, let's say, the perfect client that's come to us, call from friends, hey, I'm moving.
Yeah.
And here what I have, and we can discuss and plan ahead.
And what are some of the most common challenges that clients face when it comes to navigating US taxes?
Well, it's the complexity of things compared to other country.
It's very
Complexity,
different.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
very
different.
different.
So, and again, a lot of it is disclosure and type of disclosure that Europeans are not used to. Sometimes it feels invasive. Very invasive.
Europeans are very private
Yes.
in general.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that's why we started the private by design, like the first private by design
yeah.
company. That's because I think as Europeans, we tend to be,
Mhm.
we like to keep things to ourselves.
Yes.
Not trying to hide. It's just that it feels very personal.
Well, sometimes it's, I don't know about the UK, but there's the French culture is like, oh, well, we're gonna disclose, but we're gonna try to not disclose everything to the French IRS. Here you have to disclose everything,
Of
and it's
course.
not because you disclose that you're gonna be taxed. It's really a lot of compliance and disclosure that the IRS is asking.
Yeah. You talked about complexity. What are some of the additional layers of complexity that may arise, especially when people have to deal with with U.S. taxes, but also French taxes, or dealing with multiple currencies, multiple jurisdictions? Um,
Yeah, well, the currency is gonna be one of the issue for sure.
mm,
You always need to pay attention at the currency, and then it's gonna be rules applicable. It's going to be also issue of timelines, for example. Let's say stock option. The stock option can have a different timeline in terms of taxation in France and in the US. And for example, a French expatriate coming with French stock option in the US um, could have a timeline issue in terms of taxes. So timeline is important. Yeah, different rules of law between France and the US. The France is gonna tax this item, US is gonna tax this other item, and so you could have double taxation sometimes. People say, oh, there's no double taxation, there's tax treaty and stuff. This is not entirely true.
and what are some of the common mistakes that you tend to see people making when it comes to dealing with their taxes? Like what are or penalties, obviously before coming to you.
Yes. Common mistake would be, well, something you work on, it's bank accounts.
Yeah.
So let's say they they have small amounts on multiple bank accounts. They say, oh, it's too small, I don't have to disclose it.
Yeah, and they don't realize that they're actually looking at the aggregate value of all of
This
this
is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a very common mistake. Or some, for example, in France or in Italy and a lot of European countries, you have bare ownership, which is not something you have in the US, and something that is very used to transmit your assets to your kids in Europe. And this concept is not there in the US, so we have to navigate those concepts too.
And it's interesting, just as you were talking about what you were referring to there was the F bar, and people may think about it in their local currency, but actually when they look at it in aggregate value and it's in dollars, they're going to reach that limit much faster than they may think because of the currency's fluctuations as well.
That's correct. And it's even trickier because they are looking for the maximum balance during the year.
And the aggregate value.
And the aggregate value. So you can have two bank accounts and doing wires between those two, and you're going to reach the threshold.
That's so true. Yeah.
And at the end, let's say you wire, I don't know, $5,000 to a bank, and the addition is 10,000. That's the first threshold for EBA. There's other threshold, but this is the first one. So you have two bank accounts, less than $10,000, but because you're wiring money between the two, you're actually getting to the thresholds.
Interesting, because they don't realize that there's a ton. Yeah, it's interesting. For expats, you said that the best situation earlier is like someone who's looking to who's planning to move to the US and they contact you. What are some of the conversations or preparations do you think that are essentials, and some of the things that they need to make sure not to overlook?
Yes.
And that could be individuals, but also companies are looking to move here. Yes. I know you work with both sides.
Well, yes. Well, companies is all easier. It's all easier. So it depends if we talk about the people coming from France to work for those companies. Sometimes we have this discussion, we're going to talk about expatriate, but at the corporate level. So Dan can have a big impact. For example, big corporation coming to the US trying to develop a business. We have those clients, and sometimes they overlook the benefit in the US. They want to give the same package as in France, and it costs a lot of money. And sometimes they can get a business adventure through failure because this part was overlooked and they're spending too much money on this part. And the individual level, the perfect way is actually to inquire before moving. Let's say for common people in France or like even the UK, let's say the UK has some retirement account, or not consider a retirement account in the US. So those could be analyzed. French life insurance, or not consider French life insurance in the US. So, but
So
those are like for like common people. And then there's the entrepreneur who have stakes in company or maybe in many companies and come to the US. Those need to see a CPA because they need to disclose all those companies and maybe pay taxes actually on the income outside of the US.
One question I had was around compliance and risk management. We touched on the FBAR. There are some other forms as well that clients are not always aware of. Can you explain why those are so important? And what are the consequences that can happen for people not filing FBAR, for instance, when they didn't realize they had to? Could you share maybe some stories of things that you've seen in the past, or just the penalties or consequences in general?
I mean, stories, I have so many stories, and I have stories from the past, stories from now that I'm dealing with. But the penalty of AI in the US, for example, FBAR, the penalty is per account. So let's say you're forgetting 10 accounts, the penalty is right now the civil penalty is around 16,000. So you forget 10 accounts, it's gonna be 160K, the penalty. So it's
per account.
It's per account. So yeah. There's still discussion around that because people can actually fight it and go to court, and so this can change, but it's a lot
to deal with it.
It's so easy, and it's only disclosure. That's really the tricky part with the US, and what people need to understand. It's a lot of disclosure. It's not taxation. I know it's more invasive. A lot of actually, it's very invasive, but it's a lot of disclosure. You were talking about for example, inheritance and donation. When someone give you money in Europe or you inherit it in Europe, you have to disclose it in the US. There's a form, the 3520, and this needs to be done, and same it's disclosure. Otherwise, the penalty is 25% of the amount donated and inherited. So it's and sometimes, like for example, the FBAR, we can discuss with the IRS, say, oh, this person forgot, but the inheritance stuff, it's very difficult to get the penalty abated. So people need to be careful, and it's only disclosure.
And like you said, it's only disclosure. It's like it's better to be more like too careful or over disclose versus under disclose and end up spending like 100 whatever. Because like you said, because we're looking at the aggregate in the case of the FBAR, it might be much smaller amount in each of those accounts, but they don't care about the amount. They're looking at the per account. That's crazy.
Yes.
Just over disclose. It's always better.
Don't try to hide. And in addition, I mean, FATCA, when FATCA was signed, it's like an automatic transmission of information between US and Europe. So people might think, oh, the US doesn't have my information, but they actually do, because European banks,
they're forced to.
They're forced to share the information. It goes one way. It's supposed to go both ways, but it's mostly go one way for now. But people might think, oh, they don't have my information, but they do, because banks to be able to do business in the US, they have to disclose.
How do you help clients navigate that, between compliance and strategic planning, in order to avoid unnecessary penalties, especially when it's just about disclosure, and while optimizing that tax efficiencies?
It's going to be planning. Most of the time it's going to be planning, and if we can, planning before moving.
Yeah.
Because when you are in the US, it's most of the time already too late. Or some elections can be done the first year and not the second year. So people need to be proactive. Proactive is going to be the word always in the US, especially around taxes. And so they need to, okay, I have a project, I want to move to the US. I have a small business, I have accounts, I have a French life insurance. So what do I do? And the best is just to contact someone like us and just figure that out.
Obviously, we've been talking for some time now. The Elysian, that's something that we're trying to simplify access to some of those information, so that I know one of the reasons why people sometimes don't disclose, one, they don't know, and two, it's such a pain to get all the information.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
That they're like, oh, I don't have time for that, and then it's too late, and then they're like, oh my God, hopefully. So what are, according to you, I'd love to hear from you, how do you think our app can help simplify this compliance for citizens, for global citizens?
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of work. So a lot of time, and some of your client, my client, they don't have the time to fill a spreadsheet with all their accounts, and so what's make your app great for someone like me, and the client, it's everything is at the same place. Because most of the time they try to get the information, they forgot where it is. Yes, some people forget their bank account and what they have.
Of course,
especially expat who move country to countries.
Yeah.
And it's very easy. And then when they move, they don't have access to the information. I've seen a lot of people going through Hong Kong and then the US and then Europe, and then they don't have access to Hong Kong anymore. They don't have access to the 401k. They don't have access to a lot of things. So it makes it better because everything is at the same place. It's time saving, and the app information is also accurate, which would make feel better when I get the information because I know
it's coming straight from the bank.
Exactly. Yeah.
You said something earlier that is so true. It is about being proactive, not waiting last minute. And with our app is the same thing, where people need to be proactive, where before they even move, or the minute they open an account, like just connect it. That way, as you move, there are a lot of things you're going to forget. You're thinking about moving, your whole house.
Yes.
The last thing you're going to think about is the fact that you've got a house savings account somewhere with your previous employer, and then you may forget it forever. That happens to so many people, but I think being proactive is really the key word here, and trying to plan as much as possible before, so that you don't feel the pain too much afterwards.
And it's not only about taxes.
It's about everything.
And when, for example, you retire, then you look at all your retirement account, especially when you went through so many countries with capitalized system of it makes it much easier. You don't have to spend a lot of hours on the phone trying to find out where your retirement account is.
Yeah, and looking for all those the phone numbers, the HR people, or actually, that's something we'll be doing, is that we'll be sending a link for people who are looking for their 401k plans or their health savings accounts. There are places where you can look to see whether you may have forgotten one, not realizing that you had one. How can clients ensure that they stay on top of their cross-border obligation without feeling overwhelmed?
I think we said it already. It's being proactive.
Yeah.
Being proactive and surround yourself with good advisors.
Mm.
Well, your app, you can take it wherever, and you have all your information at the same place. Good advisor in the US, good advisor in France, not only CPAs but lawyers, especially when you have assets or businesses. So you need, to surround yourself with a good team of advisors that communicate between each other. You don't need to have everybody in the same place, the same firm, but you need to find good people who are on the same page or used to expatriates.
Understanding the needs and
the culture.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we decided to have our app as a mobile app. We're like, this is for people who want to do things quickly on the go, so that they don't have to spend a whole day planning for it. They can just do it like in between meetings or on the tube or whatever, or the L here in Chicago, and so that they can be doing all those little tasks without ever feeling overwhelmed by having to do it all at the same time. And I like the idea also that you mentioned about having all the key people. That's one thing that is so important for us. That's why we're so happy to be, working closely with you, because it's so hard to find the right people. It's so hard. And that's something we want to be able to do, is highlight the experts like you who are going to be able to help people who need help with their French and US taxes, or are thinking about moving to the US and they don't know where to start or who to talk to. And actually that leads me to my next question, which is, how can people find out more about Fiducial? How can they get in touch with you?
Yes, so, well, you can contact me. I have a calendar. You can contact me and book an appointment with me. That would be a pleasure. And then we have a website, www.jadefiducial.com, where you can see what we do. You can see the whole team. And then you can also see us at some conferences, webinar.
And hopefully we'll do more together.
Yes, I hope so.
So we actually have one coming up tonight with the French American Chamber of Commerce here in Chicago for the young professionals. So looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to speaking with you very soon. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.